Hello everybody, happy National Authors Day. This is Tracy Markley with Tracy's Fitness Studio, the author of 15 books, the host of the Health and Fitness Show with Tracy, author of 2 CEC courses for the fitness industry. And I wanted to share today this video for a couple reasons. One, it's National Authors Day, and since I became an author, many people tell me they want to be an author too, but there's many reasons they haven't completed it yet. They're still writing, they're scared, they're afraid, they don't know what to do. So I made this video for one reason, to encourage people, just do it. Just take a chance and do it. And then I was also going to share my story of how I started with my first book. Some of you guys already know it if you know me. And how writing a book leads to other opportunities. It opens doors for you. It opened doors for me in ways I never could imagine. So I wanted to share my story. So first of all, my first book is The Stroke of an Artist, The Journey of a Fitness Trainer and Stroke Survivor. And my books aren't very long. If you write a book, it does not have to be long. A lot of people think they have to write this long 400-page novel. You don't have to. Just write what you want other people to know. I write with all my books things to help people. I've been in the health and fitness industry for nearly 30 years, and I've worked a lot with rehab, stroke recovery, balance for seniors. I'm also Pilates and yoga and a BOSU trainer, master trainer, and a bunch of other titles because I've got a lot of deep education. That's why I feel confident to write my books. So I wrote this book because my client, Gary, who's a stroke survivor, he wanted his story shared to help people. And somewhere in me, I always wanted to write a book, and I wanted to write a book with muscle illustrations in it and about the core, because the core of the body isn't just a six-pack. The core of the body is the structure that keeps you up, like this tree trunk of a tree, so the limbs and the branches of the tree can be strong to have the leaves and flowers and fruit on it. So we need our core to be strong for our limbs to work, and our posture and our head and brain to line up for function. So anyway, he came to me as a stroke survivor, told he'd never walk again. A therapist got him into out of his wheelchair into a walker, and then I met him. He just had this amazing journey of his stroke recovery. He was so positive and so motivated, but he also struggled as well. But we worked well together. I learned a lot working with him. What I learned is the skills that I gathered in fitness all these years and digging deeper into knowledge to help people better in rehab and recovering and walking and back pain and all the different things I work with people. It was perfect for the stroke recovery that he came in with. Usually when I get a stroke survivor, they're already walking. They're out of their walkers, they're out of the wheelchairs, and they're not as frail. He was the first frail one I started with. This is about 2015, I think I met him. We wrote this book, or 14. This was written in 2017. I sat down, we decided we wanted a story shared. He said, I want my story shared. If it just helps one person, then that one person is worth it. And as I looked around on some other trainers, some people only had the knowledge to pass their tests and do like basic stuff. But if they had someone come in with severe conditions, or like major arthritis or MS or stroke recovery, or situations that they didn't go get advanced skills in, one, they can hurt the people, or the most important thing, limited knowledge will limit the recovery of who you're working with. So I wrote this book to get his story out there. He wanted a story to share with people, and I wanted it out there, and I was able to get some illustrations in there, which is nice. So I got my muscle illustrations, but as I went on, I started using bigger illustrations and bigger fonts in my books. But this book is still selling, and it's helping a lot of people. But what doors it opened is, I learned at this time, worldwide, there were many, many thousands of people struggling to find more care for their stroke recovery when their physical therapy ended. Or even their physical therapist maybe didn't advance in their knowledge. So they're trying to find sources to work with when they're not at therapy, or the people that the therapy wasn't covered long enough, which happens often. So we got this out. Writing my first book, I had no idea what to do. I'm not good in English. I have hearing loss. I don't always speak clearly. I wasn't good in grammar. I had to work really hard. I got better grades in college, but I was always in dummy reading in English and reading because I couldn't hear well to comprehend well. So writing a book seemed like, wow, how can I ever do that? But I just sat down one day and I took all the notes of everything with him. I just started writing. I don't think it looked much like a book, but I just was doing it. But what helped me is many people in town knew him. And he actually did pass away before the book was finished. But they're like, we want to help share Gary's story too. So 3 people in town that edited books for a living, they were all helping. And then I couldn't draw muscle illustration. So a lady came to me at the gym and I was working with her. And she said she just moved to town. I was living in a small town at the time. And she said, I want to do volunteer work, but people aren't being very nice to me. And I go, that's sad. That's too bad. I'm sorry. Anyway, then I was telling her about my book. And I was telling her I wanted to do muscle illustrations, but I'm trying to draw them and I'm really bad. And she goes, oh my God, do you know what I do for a living? She goes, for 25 years, I drew muscle illustration for nursing manuals and books for the medical field. That's huge. And she goes, I will volunteer and I will make your illustrations for you for free. That was her donation to me. And so she met Gary and we did pictures together. It was just an amazing story, but I didn't know that was going to happen. So I just started doing things and some things just started falling in place. And then right before I wanted to publish the book, I learned about self-publishing, KDP. I think at the time it was called something else though. So I was self-publishing on Amazon. Still wasn't sure what to do. And I was getting ready to go to a weekend at a fitness convention where you take all these sessions to learn, different modalities or, advanced education stuff. So I thought about a week before I left, I thought, I'm going to check one more time to see if any new sessions were added. And there was a man who I was friends with on Facebook because we all knew each other in the industry through Facebook, but we don't really know each other. He was doing a session on how to teach fitness professionals to write a book. And I'm like, oh God, don't publish this book until I go there. So glad I went. I learned a lot. And then him and his partner, they have Scripture Publishing. They actually helped me publish my first 2 books. And then they taught me how to do it on my own. So that's how that book got going. But when it got out, it started selling worldwide. Stroke recovery is a needed subject. So if you're you want to write a book about something, sometimes you want to write, a story or make up stories. I write books to teach people, so I can share that. So I reached out, or I think I was in a stroke support group at the time. Well, the book was out in the industry, so people in the fitness industry saw it. So it was a really good book for people in the fitness industry to learn stuff too. So trainers. So I was getting calls from trainers from around the world. Then I started getting emails and comments on my my website, send me messages. Can I share or write a book with more the exercise he specifically did? So my next book ended up being called Tipping Towards Balance, A Fitness Trainer's Guide to Stability and Walking, and that had 8 exercises in it. So in here were 8 exercises that he did. Although he did hundreds of them, these were some of the ones that help with stability and walking and balance, because this is also for seniors too, and anybody with balance issues, because I share some stories in here. Again, short book. The stories in here are people of all different ages. I had someone who wasn't even 40 years old yet was having balance issues. So things that come with shaking and many modalities and different reasons people may have balance issues. It's not always a stroke. It's not always you're old. So that's how this book came about. And what came from this, so each time I wrote a book, new people found me because I try to keep my book in social media and it's on Amazon. And so it was getting around and it was selling in different countries. I wasn't selling 1,000 books a month, but I was selling, they're doing okay. they're getting out there. They're helping people. And that was my goal. Remember, Gary said, if they only help one person, that one person is worth it. So I ended up getting, and still, this is all because I took the chance to write one book. These different doors kept opening. Second book out there. And then two things happened. One thing, I had a couple that lived in Virginia. I mean, in New Jersey. They're in New Jersey. I was in Oregon. They're literally, from their home address to my home address was 2,999 miles. So basically 3,000 miles they traveled. She wrote me a letter to the wife, and she said, I'm 79 years old. My husband's 82 years old. He had a stroke a couple years ago. And she was sharing stories of just horrible care they had. She says, I read your first 2 books. Can we come live in your small town for 30 days and train with you? I mean, that was huge. One, I was honored, but it also made me still realize how many people out there aren't getting educated enough to help people, because I kept realizing if people were trying to help people who in stroke recovery and they did not have any advanced education in it, how can they help them? So at the same time, I decided, and then I also had a stroke recovery Facebook page group, and they would share stories. So after I heard her story, I got in there and asked everybody. At this point, there was almost 5,000 members. That's how many people and there's probably 100 stroke recovery support groups on Facebook. I was just one of them, and I had about 5,000 members. So thousands of people worldwide, multiple thousands of people are looking for help, desperate to get their life back and the physical part back. So that led me to write a book, Stroke Recovery, What Now? When Physical Therapy Ends, But Your Recovery Continues. When I was doing this book, I was also contacted by someone at the Med Fitness Network in the fitness industry, and asked me if I would write a continuation course on stroke recovery to help train personal trainers and other fitness professionals to be more knowledgeable and more aware to train stroke survivors. So that's another door that opened. I never thought when I wrote that first book where it would lead to. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm writing a book. So right there, third book, and I was being asked to speak at stroke support groups and Quanta clubs and some senior centers, and it was very cool. So then I decided I'm going to write a book about the spine, the power of the spine, because the spine and the back and the deep bones have, deep muscle around the bones have a lot to do with movement. So my next book was The Power of Your Spine, how back strength and posture pilots your entire body, and it has color illustrations. All my books have illustrations for teaching. So this is how I keep getting my books out there. I teach something, or maybe I have a bunch of clients with the same issue. I thought, I think I need to write a book about it. So that's how that book came. And then COVID hit. We got closed down. And I felt really bad. My stroke survivor clients, although I had people that weren't stroke survivors as well, my stroke survivor clients, well, everybody, gyms and studios completely shut down. Completely shut down. We couldn't see clients. And stroke survivors were even told, do not even leave your house to go to physical therapy. At least the ones in my town was. So I felt really bad for them. And at the time I was working with a man who was 86 years old, who his arm was blue when he came to see me. And they said he'd never get his arm back, but his arm started coming back with me and it wasn't blue anymore. I didn't think it would move, but I was helping him to walk and stand. And he couldn't come to anymore. So I started doing some videos on YouTube. And then, doing, videos on your social medias to match the subject of your books, people will find you because they're looking for that subject. So I wrote a book, Stroke Recovery, Regaining Arm Movement. And I have a bunch of exercises and muscle illustrations in there for stroke recovery. And I shared it in my stroke support group and published it. And within 3 days, I had 6 messages. Can you write a book on hips and pelvic and walking? So this is during COVID. So I went and I did stroke recovery, sibling walking gait. So I did both these books during COVID time, and I got them out quickly as I can, because I wanted to help the stroke survivors and caregivers and their family members with them, because they couldn't get help. So that opened a door for that. So it's just things just kept going. And then I did the book on your brain. And that's for everybody because we all have a brain and the brain is into your body and you need to nourish it and keep it hydrated. And if this is functioning right, the body can function right. Plus, if you have a stroke or any brain modalities going on, if you're dehydrated or not drinking enough water, what your brain's going through is double challenge now, like a double whammy. So I did this book. It's, again, short, to the point. What people like about my books is they're to the point. If I'm talking about drinking the water and hydration, it's not a 40-page chapter. It's to the point, a few pages here, some there, and then on to the next. I've been told that that's why people like it because I talk to them kind of like I'm talking to you, just get it out there, and it's easy to comprehend, and nobody's talking down to them like, I'm smart and you're stupid, none of that's going on. And then I woke up one day, I think it was still during COVID. It was during COVID. It was during COVID too. I did 4 books during COVID, just all through 2020. Your Brain, the Engine of Your Body, Kids Edition. So it's about kids giggling and laughing and taking care of the brain and playing. And on the cover, I got the cover there. And so I do all my illustrations and books. I work with people on Fiverr. So if you're looking to write a book, there's probably a lot of other options there. But I have someone I've worked with on Fiverr since about 2018 doing my book covers. And I'll put it how I want it. I'm not really good at making them, and then he'll clean it up and make it better for me. Sometimes he even has better ideas, but I'll kind of say, no, I want it like this, but I don't have the right graphics or I can't get it in right. I have hearing loss. So this is something else that opened a door because I wrote books and I talked about things in my social media. So I have hearing loss, severe hearing loss. That's why sometimes I may slur or talk different because that's what happens when you have hearing loss. And sometimes when I was younger, I think people used to think I was stupid. So I always told myself, I'm going to write a book one day and say, I'm not stupid, I have hearing loss. So I did. I'm not stupid, I have hearing loss, a story of hearing loss and hearing aids, including hearing and brain care tips. And like I was talking about opening doors, Starkey makes hearing aids. One of the companies make hearing aids. They like my social media and when I talked about things, when people wearing masks, and you can't hear people talking anyway, but when you have hearing loss, and we had to wear masks during COVID time, I would hear people say negative things about the people, and so I'd go make some positive videos to help, so I ended up doing my book. And talk about some stuff like that too. Anyway, they told me, we will give you a brand new pair of hearing aids with AI in the top of the notch if you talk about us in social media. So I became an ambassador for the Starkey hearing aids for 6 months. Because I wrote my first book, it all keeps going off because I took that chance. And it's really cool. So I did that. And then my next book, I always wanted to write that muscle book. So I finally did a complete muscle book. Biomechanics of Your Body, a simplified way to learn human movement and muscle. And this is my colored edition, so I have my colored illustrations. This just says, you have this muscle, here's where it attaches, these are the movements it's make. That's it. Right now it's been used in 4 college classes back east, and I forget the other place, which is good. I took a chance. It opened doors. And then I was asked to do a course on muscles. So I have a course on muscles. Basically, it's kind of based off this, but it's a different manual. But it's basically, so if you're going to be a trainer or a yoga instructor, massage therapist, physical therapist, something where you're working with muscles, you want to know the 4 rotator cuffs. You want to know where they attach, what they do, and all their names. You want to know all the muscles of the spine. You want to know the muscles that lift and move the arm around your body, because how are you going to help someone if they come to you and say, hey, I have a rotator cuff injury. What yoga poses should I not do? Well, if you don't really understand the body, how are you going to help them not injure themselves? So that's why I did this. It all still goes back to people. I don't feel always getting the knowledge behind their work, and the customers and the clients or the patients suffer because if, for instance, with the stroke survivors, you may think, and it could be your brain. I say this all the time. It could be the brain just would not recover certain movements. that happens. But you don't know if that's you unless you keep trying. And if you had a specialist, a trainer, a therapist, or someone who did not have any advanced knowledge in human body movement and stroke recovery, your recovery or the stroke survivor's recovery is limited to the knowledge of who they're working with. Unless their brain's just on the roll by itself and it doesn't have to, it kind of heals itself. Most of the time, if you want your arm to come back, you have to keep doing arm things to bring it come back. Some people, the brain just kicks in and does it, and they didn't have to work as hard. But usually, people are struggling, and lack of knowledge makes lack of recovery. And some people don't know that. That's why I wrote the purple book, Stroke Recovery What Now? When physical therapy ends, recovery continues. Because I'm trying to educate the caregivers, the family members of stroke survivors, the stroke survivors, so they can tell, I don't think this professional knows enough. The more you know, so knowledge is power. So everything I teach in my books is knowledge is power. The more you know about things in your body, the better care you can find. You can ask the right questions, because that's when people are asking me in the stroke support group. What questions do I ask my doctors? What questions do I ask my therapist? They don't know unless someone's actually helped them gain knowledge. So if they have something they've looked at, it's like, oh, well, I didn't know this now in this muscle. Let's go talk to them. Sometimes people's shoulders, they get subluxation where it's partially dislocated. They don't know that. They just know their shoulders are hurting. But if they learn more about that stuff, then they can go talk to the doctors about that stuff. Not saying doctors are bad, but not all doctors offer stuff up to you. You ask them questions. Oh, yeah, that too. They don't always throw it all at you. So knowledge is power. That's what I always teach. And then years and years and years ago, I'm turning 60 in a couple of weeks. Back when I was 18 years old, 19 and 20 years old, I was very shy. It was very hard for me to be confident. I put myself through like some modeling classes to gain some confidence, and I would write down positive things and write down positive things people said about me. And I had like this cute little journal where I put a picture in it, like cut out a magazine, and write nice things about myself, or be positive, or that was good you did today, or whatever. And I said, one day I'm going to put that in a book. Well, I was not seeing clients at the time. My mom was sick with cancer, and I was her caregiver. And so I quickly just kind of threw the words in a book and published this. Random feel-good comments and quotes. It doesn't sell as much as the other ones, but I did it, and it's out, and it's something that I said 30 years ago I was going to do one day, and I did it. And then my next book. So I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing you how everything's opened the door to something else. So you just take a chance. And so my next book, so at this point, I have lost my stepdad, my dad, my mom, my dog, my other dog, different clients. Literally over 20 people have died in a couple years. I was dealing with grief, back pain. I hurt my back, I'm on hospice, all kinds of stuff. And so everybody, well, not everybody, lots of people, Tracy, you need to write a book on grief. You need to write a book on grief. But I'm not a specialist in grief. I just know my story. I'm a specialist in my other books with the muscles and the training. That's what I've done for a living. I'm not a specialist in grief. I just had my story in it. Every time I tried to write some, it just made me sad. And I said, I'm going to make a happy book. So a few months before, someone in the neighborhood had a cute brown Labradoodle who the owners had died. And this dog's like 10. It needed a home. And I said, you want to adopt a dog? You lost your parents, and he lost his parents. And he had like a bogus knee and couldn't take a lot of walks. And I had a back injury and couldn't take a walk. So it was perfect for me. So such a cool dog. So happy, so special. So I wrote a book called Rhyming Riley, the dog that rhymes all the time. It's my other children's book. And it's Riley telling his story with me, his life with me in rhymes. But what I did special with this book, so you can do special things. So I know this, and the people close to me know, but most people who don't know this if they don't know us. But what I did was, so my stepdad used to love to walk. Him and my husky were best friends, and we used to live in a small town with a bridge. So one of the pages says, I like to watch people and dogs walk by. I then bark when they do. I cannot lie. And we had him looking at the jacket my stepdad used to wear. So we made a cartoon of my stepdad and a cartoon of my husky that looks like the bridge where we live, looking at him. So I put special things in there, and that just makes it really cool for me. And then there's another one with, we're driving in a car that my dad's, and this is the dog washer. I do get groomed, and I don't mind, because Dog Wash Man is very kind. So I took a young version of my dad and we put it in a cartoon. So that looks like my dad when he was like in his 20s. And then I have my dad's yellow Corvette. I bought it from the state. And so, and when we talked about, we got rainy, dry is the next pages. And when I'm dry, I'm set to be the pet on a ride in Mommy's yellow Corvette. So we have the Corvette and us driving. So there's little things in there that are personal that makes the book special. So each book has special things in it. They're dedicated to people, most of them. Okay, and then my last book I've done, I just published this the last couple months in August. I did this book because I help people balance and stand and walk again if they're able to, if their brain and their body is able to walk again. I have taught people to walk again, stand again, be stable, to walk and not fall down, fall prevention. There's spatial awareness and proprioception, etc. But so, and the stuff I work with stroke survivors is also the same thing I do with maybe someone in their 40s that can't have their balance, they lose their balance, or someone's getting older, so they're just naturally losing their balance. But they did not want to read a book with the word stroke on the cover of it, or stroke recovery. So I did a book, Balance, Walking, and Fall Prevention, the Fitness Trainer's Guide for Seniors and Pre-Seniors. So this was to attract to the other audience of my clients and the people who follow me, or the subject who not going to read a book about strokes to learn about some things about their body. So I had to put it in a separate book. So that's why I did my last book. So here now, another door. I go to Cal State Long Beach. There was there's a program on the side where people teach classes. So I went there. Someone told me about it. And now come next spring, I'm going to be teaching a class on stroke recovery, and also a class kind of based off this. So doors just keep opening. So I encourage you to write a book. If you want to write a book, just do it. Just start writing, and then find someone who can help you edit. And I will say, when I went to that fitness convention and I met, the person teaching about, who helped me write my first 2 books, the first thing he said to me was, friends don't let friends edit. So if you're writing a book, try to find a professional editor. They have them on Fiverr. They have them online. I happen to know some who's helped me. You don't want someone just says, "Oh, I was good in English. I'll edit for you," because you don't want that. You want it edited well. And if you self-publish, if you get the book formatted, when it's all done, edited, ready to go, it needs to be formatted. I mean, someone puts it together where the words fit in the page in the right way, and your pictures or logos or titles are all put in their place nicely, and the chapters are written with page they go to, that's all formatted. You need to format your paperback book differently than your Kindle. So the person who formats my book, he automatically formats it both ways. A lot of people sometimes do a book on their own, they upload it, and they do the same version. So when you go to the Kindle book, it looks really bad on Kindle when people do it. So you want to just have someone, format a book. And it doesn't cost that much. I use Fiverr for mine. I use the Fiverr. The guy does good. He's worked with me since 2018. There's a whole bunch of people on there. And you just tell them, I've self-published on this platform, and I need it for this and that, and they'll do it. And you can look at it. You got to look at it before, you save it and go publish. And it could be $50 to $150. My books aren't huge. My last book was the thickest book I've written, but it's also in large print and has a lot of illustrations in there and pictures. This one is, how many pages? 257 pages. My biggest book. Most of them 100, 120, or 50 with a lot of illustration. So with National Authors Day being today, I'm proud to be an author. I was scared to be an author. But what made me confident in my writing was I had the right people helping me get it edited, and I was working with the Scripture Publishing, which is also in the fitness industry background too. So they were good with helping with the editing with them because they know the fitness words. And it's just I knew my work. So when I write my stuff about muscles, I know no one's gonna pick it up and go, the bicep muscle's wrong, because I have the illustration, the bicep is two-headed muscle. I didn't write like it's four-headed muscle. So I try to really make sure what I did is written and there's no mistakes. But when you self-publish, and say like you self-publish and you look at your books like, oh my God, that word says the, and it should have been THEN, or the word gait was GHAT and it should be GAIT for walking gait. You can just get your file, change it, have your formatter fix it, upload it, and the next day your book's fixed. So that's one good thing about self-publishing that way. If you're going through KDP, I know with Amazon, they print as you go. So you don't have to order like 10,000 copies at home and then be stuck with them. You'll get some if you want, have with you for to sell in person and book fairs and things like that. And you just do it. Just do it. It may work out good. It may work out, it may not work out. But why not try it? I know years ago, I was in school. I went to college when I was a little older, like in my late 20s. And I remember somebody speaking, saying, he was like 70 in class. He was great. It was fun having older people in class. But the thing is, someone said, well, I'm going to be like, 75 when I graduate. It's like, well, you'll be 75 anyway, so you might as well be 75 with that. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm like 60, it's too late to write a book. Why not? Why? Do it. Just do it. You learn from it. It's a great experience. It's fun. It's frustrating. Sometimes there's tears. But when you get your book in your hand, you're like, oh my God, I wrote a book. It started with thoughts in your head to scribbles to printing a bunch of copies and edits to have everything all put together. And you're so proud of yourself, and it's a good goal, and it's good for your brain to do things, and you never know what door it's going to open for you. It may not, but it could. And so why not just do it? So happy National Authors Day to all you authors out there. Good for you. I'm proud of you. And for those that want to be an author, just do it. Just do it. I know one girl once, I was teaching it. Also with the fitness thing, there's other doors that open, throw that in there. I got recognized with my work with the stroke survivors because of my writing. It got more knowledge. It got picked up in newspapers and some articles. I was personal trainer of the year with a very high up company because of my work. So that was a big door that opened too. So it opens. I've got 2 big awards in my work. And so that was really nice. But somebody asked me, now I can teach. I want to teach at the fitness convention. So now I'm an educator. I've written courses. I've done webinars. I've been interviewed by a lot of people in webinars and podcasts, and I have my podcast now. Oh, okay. Another door that opened. Oh, okay. I'm jumping around before we end. So I was in a session, and one of the girls, she loved watching me and my dog. My dog worked with me, my client. So everyone loved the idea that he worked with me. He just started sitting with people with wheelchairs. He was just the greatest. I miss him. Had him 14 years. He's my baby. He was my child, my life, my coworker. Anyway, she said, I want to be just like you. I want to work with my dog. And she was doing a 5-year plan. And I wasn't trying to knock it. I said, why is there a 5-year plan? Just do it. Because basically, just do it. Sometimes you don't need this big, huge plan. Sometimes you do. But some things you just start. And then the things start falling in place when you go. And so I had one more thing that came out of writing a book. And I was all excited just to tell you, and my brain just went blank, and I forgot. Oh, okay. I also was, where is that book? I thought it was right here. Two things. I was in a book collaboration. So there was about 20 of us in the fitness industry after COVID that wrote a book about, it's called, I don't have the book around me right now. It's called What Next? It was all of us writing a chapter about what happens next because the industry changed. You know, more people are online now because we were closed down. I didn't know Zoom. Everyone had to learn Zoom. People started doing stuff on YouTube more. And things just changed. So we all were writing our stories. And that was fun too. And I don't know where that book is. It's here somewhere. And then about a year and a half ago, I was contacted by someone in the industry, way up high educator, someone that 20 years ago I was taking something from. It's fun to be connected with people that I had on pedestals. I'm like, oh my God, they're so smart. He wrote a book, Obesity and Weight Management, Exercise Professional's Guide in Fitness Programming. And it's an education manual for educational. And I was asked to write a case study in it. So I got to do that too. So that's another door that opened. And you meet a lot of people in the industry. I've got to meet Jack LaLanne's wife, the guy who did Tybo, a whole lot of people. Kathy Smith was my favorite. Loved her. Anyway, I am now in a book project that's called Her Legacy. It comes out in March. I'm writing a chapter in that book. And it's Jack LaLanne's wife. If you don't know who Jack LaLanne is, he's been a fitness guru for years. He passed away in 2021 in his 90s. He is the first person, he invented the leg extension, exercise bands, a lot of the machines in the gym, and he had TV shows. If you're close to my age, you know who he is. Our parents and grandparents knew who he is. But his wife, she's going to be 100 in March, and she's writing a book called Her Legacy, and I'm writing a chapter in the book. So there's all the doors that has opened up for me because I started with one book. But it came from my heart. My passion was to get people educated, and my passion and Gary's passion in my first book was get this story shared. It may help other stroke survivors. So I followed my passion and my heart and my gut, and I just did it. Yes, I hit challenges, but we did it, and it was exciting. So I encourage you guys to do that. The biggest challenge I will tell you I had with the books, with that first book, is I had my printer. I'm looking at my printer right now, but I was living in Oregon then. My printer, I didn't have page numbers on it yet because the formatter puts the page numbers on it. It was, and I kept printing copies, and I would look through it and read it. I don't like looking on the computer to read. I like it on the piece. So I go in the room to pick up what I just printed, and the printer had shot the book all over the room. So all the pages were all over. I remember just sat on the floor and cried. I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted. I was mad. So that was my biggest challenge. And then when I did my kids' book, I had to do I used a different illustrator, and they were trying to do a lot of AI, and I didn't know what AI was at the time, and it was confusing me why he can't fix what he was doing. Then when he'd go to fix something, the whole thing was changed, and then I learned it was AI. So I went back to the girl that did my muscle illustrations and said, could you fix this stuff? So she had to recreate stuff, and she didn't do AI, and she cleaned up some of him stuff. But I thought these people were really drawing it. I didn't know they were using AI. So learn about AI too. There's a difference. So again, I thank you for listening to my story. I hope something maybe I shared encouraged you. If you want to get one of my books, they help. You heard all the subjects that are a lot of people. They're all in Amazon. And I'm Tracy. Markley.com, TracyMarkley. My webpage is tracymarkley.com, www.tracymarkley.com, and you can order most of them are on audio. They're in Kindle, they're in paperback, all on Amazon. They get to you within a day or two, or you can order from me and I'll sign it, write a note for you. It takes a little longer to get it when you order from me because I have to go to the post office and everything. At Amazon, it just prints and goes right to you. So there you go. They're great gifts. The holidays are coming, and knowledge is power. So take care of you, take care of others. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the videos. If you've read my books and they've helped you, please give it a 5-star review on Amazon, because Amazon likes to see those reviews. And I think only about 2% of people do. I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of comments, and I got a lot of messages through social media how much they help people, but not everyone goes and puts it on Amazon. So please do that, and you guys have a great day, and write your books. Just do it. Just do it. Just start it, and then things start falling into place. You just do it. So have a good day.